Hey everybody, Diane here. I'm coming to you this week from my home gym with a very special workout, exercise, movement for your feet. Now, we all know that if your feet hurt, the whole rest of you hurts too. So it's a good idea to take care of our feet. And it's not hard. With some very simple movements and massage techniques, you can take super good care of your feet. So let's get started. As you know from the children's song, head and shoulders, knees and toes, everything is connected. So our feet come up into our ankles, which connect to our knees, which connect to our hips. So if our feet are off, then the whole rest of our posture is going to be compensated. So what we want to do is make sure that we start out by stretching. So what we're going to do is some ankle circles. And you can either do this seated or you can hang on to a wall. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. What you don't want to do is grab the bottom part of your leg while you're doing this. You just want to do these easy circles, one way and then the other. About 5 to the left and then 5 to the right. And as I'm doing this, I'm feeling that motion all the way up into my hip. And you're going to switch legs. It's really nice to do this standing if you can. If you can't, by all means, sit down. But don't put pressure on your leg while you're doing this. We want those muscles to warm up and be activated. You're probably going to find that one ankle works better than the other. She probably noticed my left ankle is a little more, not quite so fluid in the movement. I've broken that ankle a couple of times, so there's some scar tissue and things going on there. Now that we've got that part all warmed up, we're going to work on stretching some other areas. So what I want you to do is find a nice space on your wall. So you're going to come to your wall, put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Now it's the back foot that's going to be doing the work. It doesn't make any difference what this front foot is doing. So put that however you like. Make sure that your back foot is pointed directly to the wall. You don't want it to be sideways or in. You want it to be right straight to the wall. And what you're going to do is the first part of the exercise, you're going to keep that knee straight. And you're just going to lean towards the wall. Let your hands support yourself. Keeping your back flat, lean towards the wall. You're going to feel that stretch from your heel. You could potentially feel it all the way up to your glute. Gentle stretch, never force a stretch. Move in until you feel it stretch and then hold for about 3, 4, 5 seconds. Come back, down and hold for about 5 seconds. Now the second part is we're going to bend the knee, which is going to bring the heel up off the ground and stretch. Stretch and hold. You're going to feel that in a different place. More in the lower leg. And the last part is we're going to come forward more and we're going to come up on our toes and stretch our toes. And then down. Come up on your toe and stretch. Now, if you have bunions or hammer toes or some other thing going on with your toes and that's not comfortable, leave that part out. And then, of course, we want to switch our feet and get that stretch going. Same 3 exercises. With our knees straight, then with our knee bent. I can feel that in my Achilles area because that's particularly tight today. And then up on the toes and down. And you might want to repeat that a couple of times depending on how stiff you are. And that's totally up to you and how you're doing in any particular day. Now, these stretches and exercises are ones you can do every single day. I like to do them in the morning when I first wake up because that kind of gets everything stretched out after sleeping. But you can do them any time of day. If you've been sitting for a really long time, go ahead and do them when you get up and get stretched out before you start walking out, just so you don't pull something. Next, we're going to grab a towel or a blanket and fold it so that it's about that thick. Put that on the floor, and then we're going to balance our foot. I'll turn this a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Heel down on the floor, toes up on the blanket. And just bring your knee forward and back. Getting a nice stretch in that heel area by doing this. Just let your toes relax, get a good stretch. You can also do this on a stair. I like starting out with the blanket first because it gives a little more. So if you're a little tight or a little sore, it's not quite as hard on your foot. And switch your feet. If you want a little more, you can either fold the blanket again or move your foot up a little further. Get more of a stretch in that heel area. Back of the leg, I can feel that almost all the way up the back of my leg to my knee. You can stretch and hold for about a count of 5. And come back. And being really gentle with that stretch. Again, never force a stretch. So kind of work that out a little bit. We're going to move on to some seated exercise. So grab your sturdy chair. So get nice and comfortable in your chair. Then we're going to bring our foot up and we're going to squeeze our toes down and then extend. Squeeze and extend. Squeeze. We're just moving our toe. Try not to move your ankle too much. And do about 5 to 8 repetitions on each foot. Now, for most of us, we don't do a lot of exercising with our feet. We don't even do a lot of barefoot walking with our feet. So 5 to 8 repetitions starting out could make your toes cramp. If your toes start to cramp, just stop. You can rub them out a little bit if you want to. Now we're going to move on to on the floor, and I'm going to put my feet out a little bit so you can see a little better. And grab with my toe and release. Grab with my toe and release. I'm not picking my foot up off the ground. I'm grabbing and then releasing. And again, if you have toe issues and this is not comfortable, skip this part. Next one's a little harder, and you might have to assist with your hands for this one, depending on how flexible your feet are. So we're going to lift our big toe up and put it down. Up and down. Up and down. Again, about 5 to 8 repetitions. I recommend doing your toes separately. And if you need to hold these other toes down while you do this to get your toe trained, essentially, that's absolutely fine. Eventually, you'll be able to do it. I recommend doing it 1 foot at a time because for some people, trying to do both feet at the same time, your toes get confused with your brain. So the next part is we're going to leave our big toes down and bring our little toes up. And that's even harder. Again, you might have to hold that big toe down there because it's going to want to come up too. But eventually it will stay down. Now your toes are probably saying, what the heck did you just do to me? So just kind of shake them out a little bit. The next exercise is complicated. We're going to squeeze our toes together and then move our big toe out. Then move our big toe in, then move our big toe out. It's a very small movement at first, especially. And sometimes the toe doesn't want to cooperate. And again, you can assist out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. It's a very small motion of that big toe, but it's an important motion. So give it a try. It can be a little frustrating. I get that. I have one toe that really doesn't want to cooperate that way, and that's okay. You can do it manually to get that range of motion with your toes. This will aid you in walking. Trust me, it will make a difference. So give it a shot. Now this is the fun part. I have a bunch of balls and pens and even a bracelet and a little hand towel. So we're going to put the hand towel down and we're going to put our toes out to the front, and then we're going to pick up the towel and put it down. Pick up the towel and put it down. Keep your heel on the ground as you do this. So flatten it back out. Give the other foot a chance. Again, about 5 times. And if your foot is getting tired, break these exercises up into 2 different time periods. Let the foot rest. Once you master picking up the towel, you can progress to picking up other random things off the floor. I've got a couple of pens, I've got a bracelet. Rubber bands work really well for this. Start out with something a little bit bigger. I've got a Sharpie here. Grab it with your foot, move over, and put it down. Then pick it up here, move it over, and put it down. You're actually doing work with your feet. Similar to what you would do with your fingers. And we're training our toes to move in a way that will assist us with walking. That's our whole goal here. If it's a little easier to pick up something like a bracelet, go ahead and do that. And the last thing that I recommend doing is give yourself a foot massage. You can do it several different ways. There's things that you can roll, massagers that you can roll on the floor. I'm particularly fond of this one. It's got little spiky things on the bottom that really kind of get into any sore tendons or muscles that you have on the bottom of your foot. So just relax your foot, roll it over this. Another thing that works really well if your foot happens to be sore is to freeze a water bottle and roll your foot on that frozen water bottle. And you can also use a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, kind of whatever you have around the house. These are nice because you can kind of get into the side of your foot too if that's bothering you. Focus on the area around the heel, in front of the heel. Up on the toes, you can get into the toe area. And just kind of roll it around. You'll be able to tell what feels good. So give that a try and add some foot love to your daily routine. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I have a lot more planned for working on individual body parts to help strengthen and stretch so that when you do your full body routines or even a daily walk, you'll be much better prepared. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Sign up for my mailing list. I have a newsletter that goes out every Monday. It's called Monday Fresh Start, with tips on exercise and nutrition and mindfulness and cool things that are going on for the week. So make sure you sign up for that as well. And most importantly, see you next week.